party people! Yeah, tag team music in full effect. That's me, DC, the brain supreme, and my man Steve Bolin. We're kicking the flow. Tag team back again. Check it, direct it. Let's begin. Party on, party people. Let me hear some noise. DC is in the house. Jump, jump, rejoice. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake your dairy air. These 3 words for you getting busy. Whoop, there it is. Hit me.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame podcast.
Upside down and inside out. I'm about to show all you folks what it's all about. Now it's time for
Philly
it. Get on
season.
the mic and make this mother party hot. I'm taking it back to the
Bigger
old school
idiots
because
than
I'm
you'll
an old
find
fool
on
who
social
so
media outlets. And your hosts, we've got JV, Chris, and Darth Pooh.
There you go. What's up, people?
Welcome, welcome. So we have our inaugural episode of the Hall of Fame podcast. Welcome, boys.
Well, how are you?
Welcome.
So we got a kind of a season starter here, don't we? We got the earliest spring training that I could ever remember. I've been a fan for as long as I can remember. Spring training. How do you guys feel about it this early in the season?
I feel like spring training is always at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I feel like because you figure, what was it, 5 years ago, Bryce Harper arrived. We signed him 2 days ago, 5 years ago. And today was his first day 5 years ago of being a Philly, and they had already played a couple games. So, but I think their games are moved up a little bit earlier. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like they moved up a little bit earlier, and I feel like they're playing a lot more split squad games.
It seems like the whole league is doing a lot more split squads. So it's just, I don't know. I like having the games. I like try to get them back in. I think the WBC had something to do with that, where these guys were playing meaningful games, and a lot of them came off and they came out of the WBC and had solid starts to their seasons other than Trey Turner. So why not get them playing earlier?
So you're now talking about all of the schedules that are coming up, right? You've got these plays that that are going to start formulating, like lineups that can start cohesively working together, right? Where do you guys envision platooning during spring training, which we know has to happen, right? The guys are getting looks. How do you think that is going to impact the actual roster that we're going to get into the roster and who's on the 40 man as of whatever everyone's got their right. There's already your invites, spring training invitees. We've got quite a few of them on there that are, Bilotti. We got Bilotti as a spring training invitee. So where do you guys envision these teams? What's going to be the final rotation, and who are you platooning? Are we wasting time doing looks? That's the main question.
Well, you figure you got Wheeler and Nola are your 1 and 2, and that's a given. I think what's his name is the number 3. Obviously, Ranger Suarez is number 3. Number 4, it could be Christopher Sanchez. It's not a guarantee. But Spencer Turnbull looked really good today. He was making people look silly at the plate today.
Well, he's not the only free agent, right? Right. You still got Ort. You still have, as a matter of fact, have the Phillies signed a left-handed pitcher yet? Have we picked anything up either as an invitee or as a free agency?
No.
No. No, is that a concern?
No.
Left-handed pitching is always a concern. There's 2 right now, I think, on their roster. So, I mean, you need left-handed pitching to get through the season. If you go too heavy right-handed, you're going to come up against guys like Soto and, what's his name down in Atlanta, that you're going to need those lefty-on-lefty matchups. So
You got Alvarado.
Well, it was a trick question because no one brought up the $1 million kid.
Hold on. You got Alvarado, you got Soto, and you got Matt Strahm. They're all left-handers.
And where's your $1 million kid?
Who?
My man Colby. That's the guy. Colby's the guy. He's gonna change I know he's gonna change everything, right? He is gonna make us the best team ever. Right? You can't. He's a surefire. Don't worry about Andrew Painter anymore. Don't. It's Colby. Is it Allard or Allard?
Allard. We're just gonna go with Allard.
Are we? Is that what we're going with? Allard?
I mean, you want to.
I know you guys aren't worried. I'm worried.
So, well, you want Colby Allard, who thinks is going to be the maybe a stop in the bullpen. I don't know. The guy's got a career ERA where you can now get his career ERA is over 5, which is he can only get 2 hot dogs at Dollar Dog Night now.
There's only one lefty I trust implicitly on this team. Like when he gets up there, I've got no issues. I don't chalk it as a win, but I know I'm going to see something either really decent putting down, and we know that's Ranger, right? That's just Ranger. Soto, I'm not sure. Come on. We've seen his ERA hit 18 before. So Alvarado, you trust him? You trust him?
Coming out of the bullpen, I mean, yeah, he's the only lefty I trust out of the bullpen.
That ain't saying much.
You don't trust Strahm?
Well, Strahm, I don't want him in the bullpen.
Cage?
No, I don't want Strahm in the bullpen. I want him up to
5.
start in the beginning of the year.
No, he's not. Matt Strahm is not going to be the number 5.
I know he's not, but I think he deserves it. Now they're probably going to go with someone. Now, if they go with Kerkering, I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be super shocked. I know they talked about it last year. He's not in the right spot. He's not really a closer. He's not. I get worried they're going to give him or Hoffman the nod.
I'd give Kerkering before I'd give it to Hoffman.
Where do you put Ort in there? Is Ort relief?
Who the hell is Ort?
A Caleb Ort.
The guy they just got recently.
Yeah, I think he was cashed from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nasty stuff.
Is he a non-roster? He's not even.
He's an invite. He's an invite. But like I said, Turnbull would probably get the spot before he would, and Turnbull's looking, like I said, looking okay. But I'm honestly worried about it. I know Colby Allard got lit up his first outing, right? What would he have, like 3 or 4 innings in there, and they torched him, right?
I mean, he got tattooed in the first inning for 3 runs.
Yeah. I thought it was 4 runs. Damn, it's
You're
crazy.
So high on this kid Caleb Ort, who he has a 7.8 career ERA.
So I like him. So they've always thrown him in they've tried to force him as a starter, right? They forced him in that kind of that spot. I'm more worried about our relief this year. They held up really well last year. They're like the only thing that I and that's a rare thing to have in Philly, isn't it? I remember the days of Jeff Geary relief, okay? So this is
You mean
kind of
dead?
like no. Oh, jeez. Oh, you're the worst. Are there any? Well, here's a quote that we got from Nick, and I want your reactions to this one. Nikki was said, I haven't gotten dressed yet, and we're talking about the World Series, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
What's that do for you?
I'm okay with it. Listen, listen. You have to have the confidence to talk about, trying to be one of the best teams in baseball. So,
And I mean, what's really talking about? Your goal is the World Series. That's every team going in. Even the Pirates are going in saying their goal is the World Series. Unrealistic goal, but it's a goal. So him saying that's not that impressive to me. Like it's what you would expect from him.
Yeah. And so Nick, I know people want to point at his slumping last year as a thing, but there were times where I remember strictly in April and May, he kind of then back in the beginning of June, he propped up the team with his shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Well, he
strictly
had to.
Atlas. But people forget that. Like it could have been a whole lot worse last year and he was producing. He was just producing, and his fielding improved 100%. It's like 2 years ago in the playoffs, he turned on his defense, and now he's been a maniac ever since.
Yeah, he didn't commit an error last year. So yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like people, people don't forget that Nick Castellanos carried the team for the first half of the year. But it's just the way Philadelphia sports is. Like yesterday there was the podcast out with Darius Slay, who was talking to former Eagle Steve Nelson, who said playing here is hard. Playing here is really hard. Like it's not for the weak-hearted. Like if you don't have strong physical mental health, Philadelphia sports fans will get on you. We expect a lot out of you. And look at Bryce Harper. He's been here 5 years, and he wants to end his career here.
That brings up one of the questions right here. Steve's got, are you extending Harper? We will get to that. I want you to button up what you're saying because you're right. You're bringing up an excellent point. I want you to drive it home what Nick means to the team, and if that statement is along the lines of a J roll, we're winning this thing.
I mean, listen. It's too listen. I'm not. I'm Phillies. First in hand. But listen, they see the Braves have to they have to have the Phillies on their radar. They have to.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And that's one of the Acuna for MVP was Steve's comment, but
the best player.
I think if last year the Braves legitimately played cohesively as a team instead of playing as individual players. Now remember they made a real big they made some huge moves for trading before midseason. Like they knew exactly what holes to plug and when to plug them. So I commend them for that, but the guys never formed cohesively as a team. They never played small ball together. They were always trying to rock themselves out of their cleats, and it showed. And so I hope they tailor that down because it'll make some very interesting games between us and the Phillies. And I want that to be the stretch out.
Listen, when both teams are good, it's good for baseball.
Yeah.
People hate the Braves and people hate the Phillies. Like it's just, when you and people hate the Phillies because they're Philadelphia. That's all there is to it. And no one cares about the Nationals and no one cares about the Mets. No one cares about the Mets. The Mets are the laughing stock of baseball. The Mets are going to continue to Met. So, as frustrating it is for Jeremy to be a Pirates fan, it's they're just not well, you know what they expect from the. I compare the Mets fans to the Dallas Cowboys fans. If they're winning every year, you're not. Like, there's a reason you haven't won since 1986.
So what do we do? Do we extend Harper? Do we do this, Jay? Like, is this something you think Dave D's got to get in the books before opening day?
I don't think it has to be before opening day.
Okay.
I think really what Harper was saying was that it's just something he would like to get done. They've started the conversations, but he even flat out said he realizes that Wheeler needs to get extended first. You know, there's other guys on this team that he knows for continued success, they need to get done first, but he would like to extend and get his career and end his career here. And I think that was just conversation more than it was a demand, like some of these outlets are making it be. And, you know, like one guy's like, oh, it's putting a wedge between the team. Like, no, it's not. He's saying he would like to stay here for his career. He probably goes to these guys and like say, hey, why don't you stick around as well and see what you can get done and get this could go for a very long time. These guys are relatively young in baseball age. So, you know, you get a Trey Turner. Well, Turner's already got a really long deal, but you get guys like Bohm and Stott to stick around and add a few extra years onto their contracts. And then it makes it easier on the GM too to plug holes later. They don't have as many holes to plug, you know. And so I think I think he said it because he was asked the question, and just flat out saying, yeah, I'd like to get it done, but it's not my priority right now. And I think that's what he's been saying the whole time. Yeah.
Right, and you're 100% right. It was brought up that he wants to end his career in Philly, and he wouldn't mind an extension. But we all know how the Philadelphia sports media is. They twist words, and they just say, "Oh my God, he wants more money." Listen, the guy's going to get money wherever he goes. Like, let's be real. You know, he's a 13-year deal for $300 million. For people that, like, realistically, it's a discount. Like, yeah, you know, I would extend him for 5 years. You know, you add on, now it's 15 years. Now you have to look at it as now you're going to have Harper for another 3 years after Trey Turner's contract is done, or you defer that money, like Bobby Bonilla and the Dodgers.
Shohei,
Bobby B payday.
Yeah,
and so I think you do a 3. I think you do a 3 year with a 1 year optional at the end, like an extension. Do the talk in there, make that a Bobby B payday. But that's where I'm at with it, and I think you need to do this probably before the All-Star break this year, right? Because if you're not shored up, well, the reason I say that is it worries me that if you're not shored up with Wheeler by then, I don't know what you're doing. I don't. Like, you're almost blatantly asking to it's going to bring the morale of your guys down, right? Because he's your priority signing, no doubt. So when I say I feel like all of those guys that JV just mentioned, you're talking about, like, come on, your Bohms, your Stotts, those guys need to start getting their payday. And Dave is going to have to start forking over some money, because all he's doing is spending a lot of money on free agency and not his home talent. When is the home talent payday going to hit? And I think that's important here. I think that's very important in Philadelphia. I think the paydays need a hit with homegrown talent.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw it a little bit with Nola getting paid. Yeah, he could have got a lot more going somewhere else, so maybe he took a discount for it. But, you know, at least that's a homegrown guy that, you know, Dave's like, okay, we got one. Keep working one at a time. And, you know, too many people, I think, put all the pressure to sign all of them all the time as quickly as.
Yep.
And I think he's sitting back and going, you know what, let's get one done at a time. Let's, you know, the ones with the most urgency to get done, you know, getting Wheeler extended is your biggest urgency. And I think as long as he's proving, and Wheeler is saying as well, that they're having conversations and they're trying to get it done, I don't think it brings the morale down that much as long as they're both upfront about saying they're having conversations and they're really having them, because they can say whatever they want in the media, but when you go behind the closed doors, is Wheeler going to these guys saying that Dave's not doing his part, or are they coming back like, hey, yeah, we really are talking. That's really my agent's job to do, but
burning question. We're talking about paydays, right? You're talking about getting the best guys in the best positions paid to be doing the job we want them to do, right?
Yeah.
When does Jake Cave get his payday, Chris?
Every Friday, like everybody else.
How do you think baseball players get paid? Like, how do you think the checks come in? Is it like bi-weekly? Do you think they get a bi-weekly check?
I think it's bi-weekly.
I would love to know how that works.
Yeah. What's his name? McCutcheon's check leaked while he was in Pittsburgh the first time around in Pittsburgh. And I think it said the pay period had it on there as like a 2-week period.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like there was somebody else's that leaked too. And because they were talking about what the taxes that they pay and all the tax that they have to pay.
Look at that. It's
each
weekly.
week.
Yeah, it's paid
weekly.
Their base salary is paid
weekly.
out twice a month.
Every
it's
Tuesday.
Paid out twice a month during the regular season, and during the playoffs, the players receive a player's share.
How many players do you think actually are like, oh shit, man, I got to really stretch these bills? Like, oh, I'm broke till next pay. How many? Do you think any MLBer actually says that?
I'm sure there's some.
They're like, oh, dude, I couldn't get groceries. I was just waiting for my paycheck.
It's like anything else. You got to look at their expenses. I mean, what do they want to do? Like, they want to live that lavish and have that $1 million car? Yeah, you're going to live paycheck to paycheck.
You can't get that Bugatti until next pay.
Right. But the guy that's driving around a Honda Accord, he's probably not sitting there saying, I can't make payday.
All right, give me your number one glaring issues on the roster.
Hold on, real quick. You were talking about you're gonna have to pay the Bohms and all that, correct?
You have to.
Bohm isn't due for any kind of contract extension until 2027. Bryson Stott isn't due for a contract for any kind of contracts until 2028. From now until 27. Stott is on arbitration, and then the same with Bohm. His last year is 2026.
That's right. Bohm won arbitration.
He's a free agent.
That's right. Bohm won arbitration.
So they're gonna keep going. They're gonna keep doing it.
That was good for the team. They have to challenge it like that. As ownership. You got to do that, right? You got to challenge it. But I think that was a good move for arbitration and the players for him to win out like that. That was a really savvy move on his part, actually. Let's get to we're going to do our lineups in a minute. We're going to do what we think our opening day lineup is going to be. We know everyone's going to want to. We'll get into it's not even considered a arguing point anymore. It used to be, like last year was for a little bit. I think it's going to be an arguing point because it's just something to talk about. But we know the burning question is Kyle batting first, right?
He has to. Like they win. I listen.
So you're going on the statistical. When he leads off, we win games 60% of the time. Is that what you're going with?
Yes, because years ago in like 2019 and 2020, when I did the Diamond Club podcast, I argued for Bryce Harper to be batting leadoff because he would come up for the first half of the season. He came up with 2 outs. Now you have Schwarber, and he's going to. Schwarber's going to do one thing. He's going to walk. He's going to hit the ball 435 feet, or he's going to strike out.
That's it. And right. So name that again. That's important. Name the 3 things he's going to do.
Walk, homer, or strike out.
That's it. That's it. That's all he's got in him. Now, the question is, how many strikeouts did he have? How many did he leave on when he wasn't leading off with no one on, right? That's the real statistic. And I hate the fact that he doesn't get counted for men on base after he homers, because that should be a man on base. He's getting robbed of his on base percentage for that. So he's on base. His on base percentage was like something like what?
343.
43. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So that's the one argument. The other argument is you want someone on base for your cleanup guys and your middle. What do you say to those people? He doesn't fit there. Your DH is leading off. What are we talking about? That's what you hear, right? You hear that a lot.
Yeah, but
so what's the pushback? What's the problem?
He's just more comfortable there. It looks like
but Trey feels more comfortable there. Trey said Trey's going to go ahead and say I slumped. I was batting shit for nothing because you were throwing me around in the lineup all the time, and I couldn't get a groove on. And I was like, well, why were you moving me around? Then I was the 2, and then I was the 1. What are you doing? What? That's an argument. Stability on the lineup, and he wasn't getting it. So that's the argument I see that no one really addresses, is the stability of a lineup. Counterpoint argument is you're a professional. You should be able to get up to the plate and do what you do anywhere in the lineup. Where do you guys land on that argument?
Look, you're only lead off once a game. So other than that, I care about a guy's on base percentage. I don't care how you get on base. If you hit a home run, that counts, helps your on base. You walk, you're on base. That your percentage goes up. All of which can help the team. You know, you don't win games without scoring runs. So I don't care who's getting them, how you're getting them. Get the runs.
How many leadoff home runs did he have this year, Chris?
I don't know off the top of my head. To be honest, I don't know.
Don't you have to Google
so here's my thing.
Batting first.
I do, but
all right, let's let JV's going to go for it for us.
I want home runs out of the number 1 spot where he was batting first. That doesn't mean it was a leadoff home run, but it was where he was when he was in the leadoff position.
How many?
34.
It's not what he had in the season. So he's saying he had
closest spot was 6 home runs, batting 5th.
Okay, so like the question that you guys brought up, you only lead off once in the game. And yeah, statistically, I think it's like the person who bats the most by like 33.7% is the first position. Then the second one, it drops off by like 0.2 of a hundredth or something. So it's like 335 or something, and then 334. So, statistically speaking, it's negligible, right? We're talking tenths of a thousand. So to me, I don't care where they bat as long as there is a run production to it. That's it.
Yeah.
The name of the game is batting them in, right? Touch that home plate. I don't care if they somehow manage a way for a ham sandwich to figure out somewhere in the lineup that just works. Okay. Like, here we go. And Chris, I joke about it too much with you because I know it irritates you, but like the right person for the right job at the right time is what you do. Ronald Torreyes was the right guy at the right time for the Phillies when they needed him. He's not a good player, not at all, but the guy was slapping around triples when the team needed it, and they put him in a good position for it. So the question is, are they putting every player in the correct position to be their best? And I think Schwarber performs his best in the starting lineup at 1.
Yeah, and I think he continues playing that well throughout the game. So just something about being that guy that walks up to the plate and seeing the pitcher first helps him. It helps him get in his groove for the game. So,
I need Rob. I need Rob to be honest, though. I need Rob to be honest with his players. I know they love him. I need you to be honest. I need you to say, hey, Kyle, need you to move. I need you somewhere else, and you need to do it well. And I need you to think about that. They have to have that same flexibility. They want, but they should be also be able to be. The pride needs to be moved out of the way. And I know we all love Bryce, but sometimes he's got way too much pride. But I've also seen him move out of the way for the benefit of the team.
So, by the way, Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber had 11 leadoff home runs last year. So,
what about emotional?
Trey
What do you
Turner,
think? So statistically, we like him there. I think the three of us agree. Statistically, we like him there, right?
Trey
yeah,
Turner,
I'm okay with it.
first batter of the game, leadoff homers, 0 last
Right.
year.
What do you think emotionally? Like as like just like baseball watchers, you've got, I think I religiously got into baseball when it was in my teenage years. I just kind of watched it when I was younger, but teenage years, I discovered the math of it. I discovered the strategy of it, the chess game of it, the odd little minutia of the old time rules and like the I don't know, the regalness that came with the game, right? Emotionally, how do you feel about Schwarber at first? Does it still bother you though?
Wait, batting first or playing
Batting
first?
Batting first.
Oh, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Listen, something happens, the team rallies around it. If the team is okay with him batting first and they think it helps them win, and he's got that emotional edge, I'm more worried about who's batting ninth to turn the lineup over, because batting ninth basically changes how a pitcher is going to approach Kyle Schwarber the second time.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And he gets more dangerous.
Is it going to be Whit Merrifield? Because listen, if Whit gets on, he's a good stolen base threat. If he's the ninth batter, if
you think Whit's playing every day?
If Yohan Rojas is not on this roster and he struggles in the beginning, absolutely. There's no reason Whit Merrifield should not be an everyday starter playing in the outfield.
So you're just saying Pache, we're not even looking at him as the potential. You're going straight to Whit. You're going to your free agency guy, not the two guys you're growing up to be big boys.
I'm going with the guy who's led the league in hits 3 times in his career.
There we go.
The guy who's a 300 hitter. That's who I'm going with. Nothing against Pache. Listen, he's a young kid. His time will be there. Kevin Long's he can work with him. But if you want to, your outfield needs to be Castellanos, Whit Merrifield, and
Marsh.
And Marsh.
Yeah. Well, someone said I heard the best thing. Whit Merrifield is the Dollar General version of Trey Turner.
People are such idiots, and they're probably right.
Listen, that's what I saw. I'm not calling him the Dollar General version. That's hurtful, and that's witty. I wish I had came up with it. You guys have your let's get your lineups.
All right. I'll go.
All right.
I got Schwarber leading off. Trey Turner, Harper, Castellanos, JT, Bohm, Stott, Merrifield, Rojas, Pache, somewhere in there playing that left field spot, and Marsh hitting 9.
Oh, that was nice. That talks to Chris's point on who do you have in that 9 spot, and that might solve the issue with you get to leave Rojas in to develop him, but don't put him in such a pivotal position in the lineup. Yeah.
And Marsh is that guy that on any other team, he might actually be a leadoff guy. But that's why I like him in that 9. He's a little more stereotypical leadoff. He has some pop, but he can get on base for you. So that's why I like him down there, so he can reset the lineup and reset it for the top guys.
And Marsh is good for doubles and clutch positions, right? And clutch points. He knows how to pull, and I like his attitude. I love his attitude.
Yeah,
I do.
He just wants to get on base. That's all he cares about.
I went to a game one time, and I think I yelled down to him, and I'm like, Brandon, what do you put in your hair? Is that baby oil? And then I swear he took off his hat. He looked right dead at us. He goes, all natural, baby, water. Took off his hat, threw some water on, put his cap back on. Like, just fan interaction like that is just enjoyable. And he seems like he fits in really well with the Nick and the Bryce attitude. I'm really concerned about Real Muto and what he's done in the offseason to work on his swing. I know they always talk about his swing. I know his swing's been an issue over his career. I know he loves K-Long. I know he loves, working on it, but he really hurt us last year. We stuck through with him. We gave a standing ovation to Turner to turn him around. Do we owe that to JT this year if he just kind of puts on the same show as he did last year? Do you save JT is the question.
I don't know. I don't think of JT as being necessarily that. He wasn't brought in here to be a star hitter. He was brought in to be a good hitter and take care of the pitching staff.
Well, that's going to end. His knees are shot. Let's be honest. He's going to get half the games he got last year, probably.
No, he's not.
You cannot go into
this season with that half.
I think you guys are going to be shocked.
Half the hungover.
Stubbsy's going to be the guy you might have to go to on a more regular. And I'm okay with that. Like he's great defensively. He knows how to call a game. He's fun. He commands the squad very well on the field. I have no issues with that. And Stubbs can get you these weird hits from time. Like he gets you the weirdest knock-ins, doesn't he? Like I can think of like 3 times last year that he was just like in a weird position on the field. Didn't he pitch at one point last year?
Stubbs?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was last year, but he definitely has pitched in the last 2 years. Listen. The only reason that Garrett Stubbs is on this team is because for his leadership. That's it. He's not a good hitter. He's not that. Listen, we all know the job is eventually going to be Marchand.
I have reservations about. Is it Marchand or Marchand? I thought it was Marchand. I have reservations about Marchand. I do. For some reason, I don't know if he knows how to command a position yet. I'm never comfortable with the way he calls games. I think he throws pitchers off of their game sometimes. And I don't know if that's, you didn't do your research. You're not feeling the guy out. I don't know. I think he's doing his research. I think he just doesn't feel the guy at the plate the right way that Stubbs and Real Muto do. Like JT just knows how to. I think JT literally sits behind the plate and talks mad shit to every dude who comes up there. Like major league level, I'm talking trash about your mom.
Come down there, Jake Taylor.
I don't think Marchand has that.
Yeah, and there's nobody free agent wise. So JT's gonna have to put up the same amount of games, roughly as last year.
Why you have 2 backup catchers? Why do you have to burn him out? He clearly gets burnt out. I know he wants to push himself, but you guys are asking to push the best catcher. So I'd rather have him for a few more years playing in a reduced capacity than have him go out with a major injury this year. I need longevity in this guy. He's not young. How old? JT's what? 30? What? 5? 6? 36? How many more years did you have on his knees?
I mean, it could be Sandy Alomar and
I just
catch forever.
What's that?
Sandy Alomar and catch forever.
Yeah, some guys are just good like that, but this JT's a big dude. Big guy. And he's pretty physical.
So JT's 6'1", 212, and he's 32 years old.
32.
He's 32 years old.
32. I thought he was 30. Jesus, he's been in. Well, you know what? He came up pretty quickly. That's why.
He came out. He was 22 years old when he came out.
What's that?
He was 23 when he came out.
Yeah, that's pretty quick for within 2 years. He's up in the majors for catcher. It's pretty quick. Guys languish in those positions for years.
No, that's not true. If you're a catcher and you generally get drafted in the first round, you're generally up in the majors within the first 3 years.
He wasn't a first round. He was third round.
Right. Pull that up, dude. I call bullshit on that stat.
He was
major
drafted
bullshit.
in 2010.
Ben Davis, who was not a good baseball player.
You're just gonna name like 4 guys? No, I want you to look at the percentage of guys.
But I'm telling you, catchers who get generally drafted in the first round.
All right, let's bring it up.
Who's probably going to be one of the best players in the American League this year. So, but I'm gonna go back to you were doing the lineups. So
yeah, I want to hear your middle lineup. I want to hear your middle lineup.
I have Kyle batting leadoff. I have Trey batting second. I got Bryce batting third. I got Bohm hitting fourth. I got JT hitting fifth. Nick Castellanos sixth. Stott 7. Now, depending how the season goes, if JT's struggling, you got to flip-flop Stott and JT. And then depending on how the pitching is, if it's a right-handed pitcher, I go Marsh batting 8th and Whit batting 9th, because that way it's a better setup for when the pitcher faces Kyle the second time. Because there's times Marsh struggled. He looked silly at the plate.
Well,
so
I think we all have it kind of like that. What did they go 3 for 27? Was that the stat? And I mean, they all had their
good mom.
and that stat and
the NLCS.
Bring up that's not something we can just sweep under the rug, though, right? That is simply because it's kind of indicative of what happened at times. It was condensed what happened over the season. That we dropped like 3 series in a row because we just couldn't figure it out. Now, at the time, I know Trey was slumping. I know that's when they caught Casty in 1-2.
No, we dropped 2 games because Kimbrel sucks.
Hey, listen, everyone thought Kimbrel was the guy to get, though. Every single person's.
He was fine before the All-Star break, and then he sucked.
After his 200th strikeout? Is that what dropped him? Are you telling me after we celebrated Kimbrel in Atlanta, that's when he decided to not be a pitcher anymore? A pitcher that we knew we could count on? Looks like we lost him.
Yeah.
So is that what you're telling me? You're telling me Kimbrel is like the reason that we lost this in the NLCS? I don't think so.
No, I think it was a combination of him and Topper's lack of being willing to move on.
If the meat of your lineup goes 3 for 27, you're going to lose.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I just asked my wife, why did the Phillies lose the NLCS? And her response was, because of that fucking bird. Of his wine.
Oh, the fucking word.
His setup. So I have no problem. I have no problem. Absolutely. Listen, they sucked when they batted. Like there's no doubt about it. Like that Keith, me and you were there for Game 7. Harper hits that ball 107 miles an hour, and it just dies.
It just dropped.
Every other time,
Just dropped right out of the air.
Any other time he batted like 723 when he on balls hit 107, and like 11 of them were home runs. No, we lost because Kimbrel couldn't hold a lead. We had a 4-2 lead. In I think like game 4.
I cannot blame that game. He blew that game. Yeah, 100%. But he didn't blow the series for them. Like you come home to Game 7, you're at home. Game 7, you're already up 3 games to 2.
But we wouldn't have needed a Game 7.
3 games to 2.
It would have been 4 games to 1 if he would have held the lead.
Fine. Kimbrel loses it. It's 3 games to 3 now. Fine. I give it to you. Kimbrel sucks. F him and his whole lineage. What happened Game 7, bud?
They didn't show up, and we couldn't get anybody out.
What happened Game 7? Where were you? Where were you at Game 7? Like that's that 3 for 27 record that I'm gonna keep pointing at because sure you can blame it the one game on the one dude who felt like I was 13 years old again, and that was Mitch Williams on the mound. That's what that felt like to me. It was gut wrenching. We all know it. We all felt it. But he didn't. He's not the reason. He's not the reason we lost that series.
But he is.
I can't do that.
Absolutely is.
Can't do that. Mitch Williams is the reason we lost that series. I could say that with complete conviction. I can't say that about Kimbrel, and I don't feel anything for him. He's kind of like, to me, like the way I saw the Sixers kind of sign James Harden at the time. Like, okay, he's just, I don't think this is going to be anything special, but I think this is a good set piece we can use, and I still feel that way about him. If he was with the team for another 3 or 4 years, I wouldn't, not that he's got that left in him, but even if he was, I wouldn't still have a problem with that. And I know that burns you.
Yeah, but yeah. They don't blow Game 3. They're up 3 games to 0. And you got Arizona on the roads. When teams are down 3 games to 0, they have different approaches. They go to swing more. They go to swing at they're going to try and every hit is going to try and be a home run. So to sit there and not put any blame on him and blame it on the batters, which they absolutely deserve, they could have a chance to go up 3-1 and he blew it. It's a different aspect when you're up 3 games to 0 as opposed to 2-1 because now you gave Arizona life. That's realistic. You gave them life in their home stadium.
I really want to pull up the NLCS here. I want to bring up these stats from the game that were kind of just like ugh, and I don't know if I want to do that to myself. But we're talking about Game 4. Kimbrel takes the L.
He took the L
and then
in Game 4. They had a 5-2 lead in the 7th inning. With Game
right,
3,
but you don't go you don't go to him.
The Diamondbacks should have been swept.
Well, I also have an issue with what they did to Ranger in that game.
He got yanked way too quick.
In Game 7, I have a real issue with that.
All postseason, he got yanked too quick, considering what the other guys, like if they struggled, they stayed in, fought through. And they were so high on Orion that they were pulling Ranger way too fast. And Orion didn't show me anything. I don't know. I got to see more from him through the regular season before you start. Like, I think he caught fire in the first round, and it was just adrenaline, and then reality set in that he was not ready for that stage in the majors yet. He should have been playing a little bit more during the regular season if they wanted to do that. Because once they got video on him, he was done.
There we go. Phillies went 51 for 221. Okay. 51 for 221. You're like, yeah, that's pretty bad. Here's even more interesting. The Diamondbacks went 55 for 233. They did worse.
They just had time to hit.
Yeah, they hit 4 more times than us, but they also had 233 at bats. So they had about 15 more or 10 more at bats than us. That's I mean, how do you get beat looking like 55 for 221 and the other team does it even worse? So again, I'm it's a batting issue, but yes, the pitching allowed for the Diamondbacks to do that, right?
Yeah.
They created the opportunity for it to occur. But the offense did themselves no favor by not showing up.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that begs the question, were they tired? Were they just slumping? Did they not care about Red October? I don't know. And that's something we're going to have to see this season. We're going to have to see how does Rob Thompson, how does he quickly acknowledge a problem and then say, I saw him wait too much this year. Way too much. I sometimes he didn't even acknowledge a problem until the fans got up and had to do a standing ovation. I don't know. That still feels dirty to me. I'm cool. It's cool that we did it, I guess. But he's a multi-millionaire. What are we doing?
Because here's the thing. Well, once in our life, let's not be the scumbag Phillies fans and boo our players.
I don't want to boo him, but I'm certainly not going to give him a standing ovation. Like, what are we? I guess. Okay. I'm so happy I could help the millionaire feel good about himself. And I get it. It's a game and it's a sport, and I love watching it. We all do. But I don't know if that's going to work here for a long-term solution. I don't think it's a little corny. It's a little corny if we have to do it again this year. If we have to do that crap again this year, I am not a Trey fan.
No, you're absolutely right. It's you're 100% right.
He hits 105. I'm booing the man. I don't know. He hit 105 this season.
Yeah. I'm not booing anything. I don't boo anybody. That's just me.
All right, boys. We're in the closing 5. Let's get our what do you want to see this year? It could be anything. It could be about the team. It could be about the stadium. It could be about the food that comes in. It could be about whatever you would like. What do you want to see for the 2024 Phillies baseball season? We're going to throw it to JV first. Go ahead, man.
Just improvement with the management, the manager, honestly, like better use of the bullpen, proper use of it, not falling in love with guys that they just sit there and let them stay out there, or falling so out of love with guys that they throw one high and outside and you're yanking them off the mound. Just, better managing. We got all on Topper, he was great after getting rid of Girardi, and now everybody's like, yeah. So now it's like, will show us that you really are a good manager, not just a good team guy.
So what I'm hearing is you want him to give more respect to Ranger Suarez.
Yeah. and
Okay.
not fall in love with guys like Orion Corcoran just because he got hot for 4 innings and now he's your guy in the biggest moments of the season.
I like it. So you want to see tighten up of management. All right.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got for us? What is the one thing your want for the 2024 season?
I want the bullpen to be healthy. There's too many people hurt last year. Alvarado was hurt. Sir Anthony was hurt. Bilotti was hurt. Yeah, you threw a dart and one of them got hurt. I need the bullpen to be not hurt, and I need it to be consistent. We need to find a closer. Like they're all the same. They can't be hurt because if they get hurt, if your bullpen gets hurt, then you don't have a closer because Alvarado. I don't know if he's got closer stuff. He's wild. I think Sir Anthony does. But if he's hurt, it's going to go to Alvarado. But if Alvarado's hurt, it's going to go to Sir Anthony. But then at that point, it's like, who do we rely on? Well, now we're having to rely on Orion because he's the next big thing.
They certainly are putting all their eggs in one basket with 2 of their pitching staff. I do agree. Kirkering is getting the nod, like he is better than Sliced, and Hoffman. I think Hoffman's also getting that same kind of treatment. I think he's getting the Rob Thompson love, and I agree with that 100%. I think our bullpen did very, very well for last year, and the injuries they did have, they really kind of sustained us over quite a few games. A lot of the damage that was done by our starting pitchers last season. We know that. Nola getting lit up like the usual, finishing strong to secure himself a contract. I think that was like a Rod Tidwell movement. Show me the money, and it happened. So good for him. I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm not going to get mad about the Nola contract because I know how hard it is to even fill a pitching position with reliability, and he still got it, even though he's done what he's done to the team over certain times. The one thing I want for the 2024 Philly season is I want the Schmitter back. I want that sandwich back in the ballpark.
But I'm like, well, I was going to say it, but I was going to wait.
I'm fat, and I'll say it. I'm proud of it. I think the food offering overall in the stadium is trash. I think they have a lot of brand names that they think pops, but it's just not quality food. There is not good food at all around the park. I think it's disgusting. I think that's why they were throwing dollar hot dogs, because they're just terrible food. I mean, if they look at it and they think this is worth less than $1 and I already paid $1 on it and I can get 5 of these and launch them, they're scumbags. Don't get me wrong. They're absolute pieces of trash. Like I don't care if you hate me now and you're listening to this, or you ever come across this and you're like, oh, I was a dude who threw a hot dog. Just know you're a piece of trash. Like, you're a scumbag. And it's okay, but I understand the how it gets that way in a stadium of savages. So I just need better food options. The pricing is what the pricing is going to be. I'm never going to get mad at that. But here we go. We went to where did we go over the summer? What park did we visit, sir?
The Cleveland Indians.
We went to
Progressive Field, I think it was.
Yeah, Progressive Field. We went to Progressive Field in, I want to say July or something. I don't know. June?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, July.
Yeah,
it was the vacation that JB didn't know about till like 4 days
until it was over.
Listen, hey man, it's not my job. I'm not your travel agent. I'm not going to invite you to a vacation you should have been invited to anyway. That stadium. First of all, we were. I want to say. We were treated like royalty.
Really were.
We really were. We had Phillies gear on, head to toe, all 3 of us. No, I think Timmy, your brother-in-law, was wearing a Hawaiian stupid shirt or something. I don't know. He stuck out like a sore thumb. But you and I were wearing Harper stuff. We were getting Attaboy Harper. We were getting we were just getting all of the love. Oh, we love Harp. We love Philly. You guys are awesome. I don't want to visit there. We're afraid to go there. Stuff like that. Oh, how do you live there? But the food selection was amazing. amazing. They had artisan, like like local people there that had booths running. It felt good. The selection felt good. The food was good. I think the food in our stadium is terrible, and that includes Chickies. That includes your Campos. The best thing you did was Manco and Manco. I mean, like, let's be honest.
But it's not going to be Manco and Manco. It's Aramark making all of these foods.
Oh, look at that! I look great. Look at that. It was amazing. Like, again, we were treated like royalty. It was very cool.
They were way too nice. That shit would not happen in Philly.
No. No.
So whose jet are we taking to London for that series?
No, you got to fight Melissa for that.
I have zero desire to be over in Europe, so you guys can have my ticket. If you told me Europe disappeared tomorrow, okay, all right. Anyway,
yeah.
So, and this is, and hold on, before we go, this is what I think of Jake Cave.
Yeah? From what I hear, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a fucking boat.
I hate it.
Well, such a classic movie. I'm gonna watch it this weekend. Such a classic. Bull Durham is
when they're on the pictures now talking about what they're gonna buy the girl and the guy for their wedding.
Like
Bull Durham is up there with one of those, like, it brings me back to my 80s immediately. It's to the moon type of movie, but it really nails the baseball feel and why I ended up loving watching the game. Gentlemen,
where?
it's been an honor. That's our first episode of the Hall of Fame Club podcast. Keith.
I'm JV.
I'm Fuzzy. I'm Fuzzy.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
All right, and then we'll head out with this.
Living in this big blue world with my head up in outer space. I know I'll be A-O-A-OK. I know I'll be A-O-A.